Hi and welcome back to your English class. On Wednesday, I had sent you the notes. I know your copies are with me. So once you get your copies back, you can complete your work. Some of you have done your work wonderfully, and it was a pleasure seeing your copies and checking them. And some of you have not done up to the mark. So, if you have any queries about how to do the work, please ask me, or if you have any doubts, please confirm it first before you do it in the fair copy. So, previously we have finished our prose till the chapter Women's Education. Today we are going to study the last chapter, The Heritage of India. That will complete the prose portion of the entire 12th standard. Okay, so we are praying that we meet each other soon, and hopefully by 15th of October when the school opens, let's see how it works out. But in case if you want me to repeat anything for you, or you have not understood anything, kindly message me personally and let me know so that I can revise that particular chapter with you. Okay, coming back to the chapter Heritage of India is written by A.LBasham. A.LBasham was a historian and scholar, and in this particular chapter we are going to study about the Indian culture, specifically the Hindu civilization, and how this Indian culture is a combination of many cultures, in the sense that there have been so many people right from ancient period till the time the Britishers ruled India. So many people came to India to conquer or to stay here. Then various civilizations or various cultures came here, settled here, and they have left something or the other with us. How we have taken the positives of all the cultures and then assimilated it into one beautiful Indian culture, and that's what we follow now. So, in this particular chapter, we are going to study the richness about Indian culture and the richness about Hindu civilization. Raja Ram Mohan Roy had sounded the theme with his passionate advocacy of social reform. Vivekanand repeated it with a more nationalistic timbre when he declared that the highest form of service of the great mother was social service. Other great Indians, chief of whom was Mahatma Gandhi, developed the theme of social service as a religious duty, and the development continues under Gandhi's successor. Right? So the writer starts from the point where he talks about Raja Ram Mohan Roy, or he talks about Mahatma Gandhi or Swami Vivekanand, and he talks about the work that they have done for our country. Okay, and he says that these are the people who have advocated social service, यानी कि ये जो तीन महान लीडर्स के नाम लिए गए हैं, सोशल रिफॉर्मर्स के नाम लिए गए हैं, they are particularly known to have worked for the Indian society as such. They worked for the upliftment of the poor, for the upliftment of the girl child, for spreading education, for spreading awareness among the people about education, about respecting women, about social service being the service which is primarily as a service to the motherland. Yani ki social service is like serving God. If you serve the poor, if you serve the needy, if you help them in such any manner, then it's like helping God. Okay, it's not. It's like following some good deeds, and this is like the service to mankind, and especially it's a service to our mother India. Mahatma Gandhi was looked on by many, both Indian and European, as the epitome of Hindu tradition. But this is a false judgment, for he was much influenced by Western ideas. Gandhi believed in the fundamentals of his ancient culture, but his passionate love of the underdog and his antipathy to caste, though not unprecedented in ancient India, were unorthodox in the extreme and owed more to the European 19th century liberalism than to anything Indian. His faith in nonviolence was, and we have seen, by no means typical of Hinduism. His predecessor in revolt, the able Maratha Brahmin, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Gandhi's impatient lieutenant, Subhash Chandra Bose, were far more orthodox in this respect. For Gandhi's pacifism, we must look to the Sermon on the Mount and to Tolstoy. His championing of women's rights is also the result of Western influence. In this social context, he was always rather an innovator than a conservative. Though some of his colleagues thought his program of limited social reform too slow, he succeeded in shifting the whole emphasis of Hindus' thought towards a popular and equalitarian social order in place of the hierarchy of class and caste. Following up the work of many less well-known 19th century reformers, Gandhi and his followers of the Indian National Congress have given new orientation and new life to Hindu culture after centuries of stagnation. Right. So, people generally believe that Mahatma Gandhi is and was a beautiful example of Hinduism, which is not totally true. Though he was a Hindu, but he was very much influenced by Western culture. And the reason was that he spent a lot of time of his life abroad. He spent his life in Africa studying law and practicing it over there. So basically, जो एक ह्यूमन बीइंग के लिए एक रिस्पेक्ट होता है, अंडरडॉग जो राइटर ने लिखा है, दैट्स द पुअर, जो पुअर के लिए रिस्पेक्ट है, जो अननेसेसरी कास्ट सिस्टम इंडिया में एग्जिस्ट करता था और आज भी करता है अनफॉर्चुनेटली, उसके खिलाफ थे. He was one person who always respected the poor, and he always wanted to uplift the poor and the needy, because he used to call them Harijans, that is Hari के जन, हरि के लोग, भगवान के लोग, right? Hari is used for Krishna ji, and that is how he wanted every Indian to feel. He wanted that every Indian should feel that these poor people are people of God, and if we help them, we are doing something divine, something great, something kind and compassionate. And then he also says that जो उनके शागिर्द थे, जो उनके डिसाइपल्स थे, बाल गंगाधर तिलक हैं या फिर सुभाष चंद्र बोस हैं, वो लोग ज़्यादा ऑर्थोडॉक्स थे, वो लोग ज़्यादा बिलीव करते थे हिंदुज़म के जो ऑर्थोडॉक्स पॉइंट्स होते हैं उन पे, right? But Gandhiji believed in non-violence. He was totally against casteism. He worked for the upliftment of the poor. So when, according to him, if we take him as the epitome, यानी कि एक perfect example of Hinduism, if we take him to be the epitome of Hinduism, in that case we should be following what he says. And he always went against the teachings of Hinduism, and that is why people have a very contradictory view about him and his teachings, but still he is the father of the nation. एक और ख़ास बात गांधी जी के बारे में है, और वो बोलते हैं कि he was very much influenced by the Sermon on the Mount and by the teachings of Leo Tolstoy. Now, Sermon on the Mount is a chapter in the Bible, okay? He often said, I love Christianity but I don't love Christians. क्योंकि वो एग्जिस्ट करते थे उस टाइम पे, तब जब Britishers and French ruled the world, and they did not treat the countries which were under them in a proper way. They did not follow the teachings of Christianity. So, according to Gandhiji, it was like the Sermon on the Mount says that blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. यानी कि वही लोग हैं जिनके पास आपको प्योरिटी मिलेगी, जिसके पास, जिनको मदद करने में या ज़रा सा कंपैशन दिखाने में, काइंडनेस दिखाने में हमको भी सेम ब्लेसिंग्स मिलेंगी जैसे कि उनको मिल रही हैं. सो हेवन इज़ अ प्लेस, और जिसको हम जन्नत भी बोलते हैं, या फिर ये कहा जाता है कि जब हम मर जाएंगे तो जितने पापी लोग होंगे वो नर्क में जाएंगे, और जिसने पाप नहीं किया वो स्वर्ग में जाएंगे. सो what is this swarg and nark? What is this paradise and hell? This is the place for the poor, he says. Paradise is a place for poor. People who are poor will go to heaven. People who suffer will go to heaven. And people who misuse their power, people who are rude, people who are indifferent to the poor people, people who are arrogant, people who misuse their wealth and power, they are the ones who will be going to hell. And that is what he believed. He used to say that Hinduism doesn't teach you to fight with one another. That's what the perspective of the other people was. जो उनका कहना था, जो चाहे वो मुसलमान हो, चाहे वो हिंदू हो, चाहे वो ईसाई हो, चाहे वो किसी भी रिलीजन को बिलोंग करता है, the beauty of it is that you have to bring out the beauty of the religion, bring out what the true meaning of religion. And all the religions teach us unity, love, brotherhood. This is what Hinduism teaches, this is what Christianity teaches, this is what Islam teaches. But unfortunately, we do not see these qualities. We go somewhere else. We find our own new meanings. We follow casteism. We degrade the poor, the Dalits, and sometimes we become so inhuman. स्पेशली आज की तारीख में अगर हम देखें दुनिया में क्या हो रहा है, या अपनी ही कंट्री में क्या हो रहा है, this was not the place what Gandhi ji dreamed of. This was not the place what Raja Ram Mohan Roy or Swami Vivekanand dreamed of. And if they can see the state of affairs in the country right now from wherever they are, surely they will be very, very sad. And they would always say that this is not what we wanted, right? So this is just the beginning of the chapter. We'll continue the chapter next week, and I'll be telling you or explaining you the chapter in detail. Okay, so enjoy your weekend, take care of yourselves, and stay safe. Bye bye.